Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us on this Wednesday, and welcome to this educational presentation. Now, today I want to talk to you about a tool that is perfect for extreme trend traders only. Now, I know most of you, if you look at your trading or look at the style in which you like to trade, you like to find a nice extreme trend every once in a while. In fact, that's where the low-hanging fruit is, when you have a real strong trend going in either direction, either up or down. The trouble is in identifying these trends. Oftentimes it looks as if you found one, and then the minute you step in, it turns into a whipsaw market, right? For example, if we look at this chart here, someone could say, well, yes, Steve, this is an extreme trend to the downside. So I'm going to either step aside and avoid it, or I'm going to go short. And the minute you jump in, this is what usually happens, right? What you thought was an extreme trend turns into a choppy trend. So what we want is an extreme trend that continues to go while we get in and after we get in, because that's where we can catch these really strong movements. For example, something like this to the upside, or something like this to the downside. Well, here's the good news, because today I'm going to share with you an indicator that actually is designed specifically for that purpose. Its only job is simply to identify these extreme trends, and it does it with uncanny ability. It's one of our most popular as well as consistent methods, and you'll see that it's only found on the PTS Primo Charting Platform. This is the educational platform that identifies these extreme trends in advance. So we're going to talk about this today, and it's going to be a very promising educational presentation. So welcome once again. My name is Steven Primo, President and Founder of Specialist Trading. If you're new to my webinars, you'll see today that we're all about educating you. We really want you to be a consistent trader. And the only way you can do that is by becoming a part of the process. There's not one trader I know that relies on someone else to make their own decisions that is still successful, that is consistent. All of these traders that I know that have been trading for 30, 40, 50 years make their own trading decisions. They don't rely on some guy in a chat room or some guy on TV, what he thinks of the market. They don't wait for fundamental or economic news to be dispersed or to be told in advance. They don't wait for any type of earnings reports or any type of institutional support and resistance. They simply focus on market behavior. They make their trading extremely simple, and these are the ones that are still trading. Now, I've been trading for 44 years now. I started my career on the floor of the Pacific Stock Exchange. I was on the floor for 16 years. 9 of those years I was a specialist. So that's where we get the name specialist trading. A specialist is someone who made markets from roughly about 50 or 60 stocks. Now, the reason I wanted to teach is because in my 44 years of trading, I've seen and traded just about everything there is under the sun. And anything you think that is brand new or that is new and innovative has most likely been around before. They've just renamed or rebranded it. So in my 44 years, I know what works in terms of consistency, and I know what doesn't. So I teamed up with Pro Trader Strategies with one goal in mind, and that was simply to educate and to teach traders around the world so that they can ultimately make their own trading decisions. And once you do, that's where, in my opinion, you become a part of that group that is able to consistently generate gains from 10, 20, 30, 40 years down the road. So you'll see that attention to detail today in today's educational presentation. But once again, before we begin, we are always required to share this with you. So please take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to show you a lot of performance results using this tool, but please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the performance results will be repeated in the future. Remember, since we are first and foremost an educational company, all examples are strictly for educational purposes only. Now, there's lots of ways to get more education from Specialist Trading and Pro Trader Strategies on a daily basis. You can follow us on Twitter. There's our handle right there, at SPCLSTTRADG. Every day I post upwards of 4 or 5 different bits of education, anywhere from signals that our strategies have generated, and I go into a little bit of detail as to why they were generated. Or also, I post some little bits of financial wisdom. So lots of great free education on a daily basis. So please feel free, if you haven't done so already, feel free to follow us on Twitter. Now remember, as I stated earlier, we are different from other webinars and other courses you may have attended, and that we are only trying to educate you. That is first and foremost our only goal, because a good educator, a good mentor does not trade for you. He teaches you how to trade. But unfortunately, we're taught the opposite when we first started to trade, right? we're taught to go to some guy's website, buy the $10,000 course and get his nightly signal service, or go to his chat room or his trading room, and we'll find out what to do for the next day, right? Well, when you do that, you're basically taking yourself out of the game. What you're telling the markets is, I'm not smart enough, educated enough, or experienced enough to make my own decisions, so I'll let this guy do it for me. And that, is a recipe for disaster. In my opinion, that's one of the main reasons why most traders fail. It's been estimated upwards of 85%. You have to be a part of the process. Now, the reason why most traders don't want to become a part of the process, they don't feel they're educated enough, they don't have a master's degree in business, they don't really have enough experience trading the markets. That's okay. This is the job that and the gap that we provide. We educate you so that ultimately you can make your own trading decisions. You see, our job and our goal is to teach you how to trade with a specialist edge. The same edge that was taught to me 44 years ago when I started trading. I was struggling tremendously. And what has sustained me now for that amount of time, hopefully it will be able to do the same for you. Now, just a few announcements before we begin. Since this is a Zoom presentation, please want to remind you that this is not an interactive presentation. This is a static webinar. So if you have your cameras or your microphones enabled right now, please disable them, because it's just a static PowerPoint presentation, okay? Also, if you have any questions, please wait till the very end of class to ask questions. I have a lot of slides to share with you, and most of them are self-explanatory. So if you just wait for the next slide, most of the time your question will be answered on its own. But if you still have questions, don't worry. I will take all of them at the very end. The only question I will answer, is this being recorded? Yes, it is. Each and every one of you will get a link to this recording, okay? So if you have any questions, once again, please feel free to ask them, but at the very end, and I promise I shall get to them. All right, with that stated, let's begin today's educational presentation. I like to start off with a theme for each one of my educational classes, and this one is one of the things that my mentors taught me. They said, Steve, overthinking is what kills your trading. Now, think of your own trading right now. How many indicators do you have plotted on your screen? For that matter, how many screens are you watching? You're watching 2 or 3 or 4 maybe? How many markets are you watching? How many so-called trading gurus do you listen to or read their blogs or go to their chat rooms or trading rooms? See, this once again is overdoing it. This is why trading becomes so complicated. It's not because it really is. It's because you, the individual trader, makes it more complicated than it has to be. You're overthinking things. And I'm saying this from personal experience. I did the same thing when I first started. So this is pretty much what most traders do, and pretty much why most traders fail right from the beginning. They overthink things, and just when you start to simplify things, that's when your trading starts to become consistent. So remember, just because you may have multiple markets, just because you're watching multiple time frames and multiple, different time frames, as well as markets and as well as systems and strategies, it's no longer going to make you or no sooner, I should say, going to make you a successful trader than, as I've tweeted before, it's just as buying the most expensive pair of running shoes is not going to turn you into an Olympic sprinter. Those things really won't help. What really helps is sound, fundamental, and most especially simple education, things that have stood the test of time. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, I can't think of a way to make trading simpler than to have it as easy as what I'm going to be sharing with you today, because we're going to be talking about the PTS Extreme Trend Indicator. This is a tool I developed with Pro Trader Strategies, once again, with one goal in mind, and that was simply to identify very extreme trends in advance. I know we have a lot of trend tools and ways in which to trade with a trend at Specialist Trading, but each one has a different category. For example, the PET-D is one of our most successful trend identifiers, but it identifies the trend in any aspect. In other words, in any category, in any style of trend there is, it will tell you what it is currently experiencing. Whereas the PTS XT will only identify an extreme trend that's about to take place. Now, this is where this low-hanging fruit lies. Right? Think of it. Anytime you've made that quick, fast trade, it's usually in an extreme trend. So that's where you want to be, on the right side of the extreme trend and in it before it really takes off and turns into a choppy trend, right? All right, let's look at this example here. There's a weekly chart of FCX, Freeport McMillan. Once again, looking at this chart right here, going back to June 2020. This is just for educational purposes only. I'm going to share with you some older charts right now to give you the the proper way in which this is supposed to be applied. But later on in the presentation, I'll share with you charts that happened only in the month of September and some as recent as last week. Okay, so as we look back in time at this one, it doesn't look like much is happening here. It kind of went up a little bit and then sideways. But look what happened. If you press on our platform, the PTS XT Extreme Trend, click on Highlight Signal, you will see that a yellow block was placed around that particular weekly bar. So what does that mean? That is your first sign that an extreme trend is about to take place. And most likely, if it's going to be, and not to tell you that every setup works perfectly, but if it's going to be an extreme trend, this is the bar you want to get in on, right? Because this is the beginning of it. Now, a yellow block signifies that we're going up. So it's telling you that an extreme uptrend is about to take place. You may want to purchase anywhere around here. Maybe the minute it goes above that bar, maybe at a lower limit, maybe at the market on close. But either way, you should be viewing this from a buyer's perspective because most likely there's going to be a nice, strong trend taking place. All right. Yeah, look what happened after that. 22 points after that. Basically, the stock, gained tremendous amount of percentage points, the price. Now, this works as a 200% price gain. Let's look at this example in the spiders. All right, going back to March 2020 again. Does that ring a bell? Does anyone remember what happened in mid to late March or early March 2020? Well, remember, that's when the market fell out of bed because of the coronavirus, right? Because of the pandemic. Everyone thought it was the end of the world, but most people really weren't aware that it was going to be that strong. They thought, well, we'll have a little sell-off, a little pullback, I'll buy some more, and the market will go back up because that's what it's done for the last year or two, right? But look what happened here. Had you clicked on our platform only, this is the only place you'll find it, the PTS XT Extreme Trend, click on Highlight Signal, you would have seen right here, mid to end of February, a red block was displayed around this particular daily bar of the spiders. Now, the spiders is the ETF that represents the S&P 500. So if it's saying that the spiders is most likely going down, isn't that pretty much giving you a warning that most likely the market's going to go down too? And not just a short little pullback or a small sell-off, but an extreme trend. Well, this was on the 25th of February, and we all know what happened after that, right? Now, the spiders, the ETF, the actual ETF fell 90 points in the next 3 weeks. But that transferred onto over 85, nearly 9,000 points in the Dow. Don't you think that this tool could have helped you back then? That's the power and the simplicity of the PTS XT. So now that you understand how simple it is to apply, let's show you some more PTS XT entry signals. Once again, we showed you those older charts just for dramatic purposes, just for explanation on how to apply it. All of the examples I'm going to share with you right now happened within the last 3 weeks, some within the last 3 or 4 days, okay? Let's begin. And once again, all of the things you're seeing here are only available on the PTS Primo Charting Platform. All right? You're never going to find this anywhere else. So the PTS Primo Charting Platform was developed and designed by us, Pro Trader Strategies and myself, to make trading extremely simple. Okay, so let's look at extreme uptrends first. And these happened once again in the last 3 weeks. All right, and we're going to do something a little bit different this time. We're going to look back in hindsight to show you how simple it would have been to capture these already established extreme trends. As we look here in CF Industries, we see that, oh yeah, we have a nice, real strong uptrend, right? The stock was going up, but how could we have taken advantage of that? Well, if we would wanted to buy, this would have been a great place to buy, looking back in hindsight. Is there any way we would have known? On our platform, all you had to do was click on the PTS XT Extreme Trend tab. In the drop-down menu, click on Highlight Signal, and you would have seen that a yellow block was painted right here on the 15th of September, well in advance of that strong move. Let's look at another trade in hindsight. This is a Marriott, okay? A pretty strong extreme move to the upside. Most traders love to play the victim game. They go, gosh, I wish I would have known. I would have bought this. I was interested in this stock. I kind of liked it, but then I forgot about it. How could I have taken advantage? Because I kind of missed it. Well, once again, wouldn't you have liked to have bought right there? Well, you could have on our platform using the PTS tool, because this was the very first bar that a yellow block was painted around. Now, as long as you are in that extreme uptrend, the PTS will continue to color the blocks yellow. Now, as you see here, we had 3 down days. And look at the colors around those bars. They were still yellow. So it was telling you that, hey, listen, even though we're selling off, this may be an opportunity to buy here. You should be looking at this as a buying opportunity as opposed to, well, the trend is over. Because the extreme trend has not diminished at all. So this might be a good place to pick up some inexpensive price of Marriott. And as you can see from this little pullback here, it continued to go higher. How about this example in KMX? Once again, been going straight up since the beginning to mid of September. How could we have purchased maybe right here? Well, apply the PTS and we see in hindsight that this was the very first bar. Remember, if you are trading it the simplest and easiest way, it's by getting in on the first bar, because if it does work out, remember, I'm saying does because not everyone is 100% winner. There are some small losses, but in the course, we teach you how to protect yourself and how to keep your losses to a minimum. But if it does work out, that's the one you want to get in if it's really going to take off, right? Here's another example, Tractor Supply Company. TSCO, once again, pretty much went straight up since the beginning of September. How could we have purchased it right here on this down day? Well, by applying the tool, we see that that was the very first yellow block bar. So you could have bought it as it closed lower. And look what happened. The stock just continued to go higher and higher. Let's look at this example in Expedia, okay? Now this stock is basically just parabolically gone straight up. Most traders love to play the victim game. They always say, gosh, you know, I missed that. So-and-so knew all about this and got in. And I sit there and just kind of smile and I'm kicking myself saying, why can't I ever buy these ones that take off? Well, there's no promises made for anything, but I think the PTS can really help you, because if we had applied it, you may have been able to buy back here. And it looked like nothing was really happening. This was towards the 17th, towards the middle to end of last month, or this month, I should say. And as you can see, that's where the first yellow block was painted. Now, even when you have a down day, it was still colored yellow. So maybe you may want to wait for some down days before you buy. But oftentimes, if it's an extreme trend, you may have to wait a while. Now, these are moves to the upside. Now, we've also seen some extreme downtrending moves this last week or so, right? At the very same time, in the stock market, the PTS has been generating some extreme moves to the downside. So this is the type of thing where you can be long one position, short the other, buying the puts on one, the calls on the other. Really makes no difference. For example, as we look at AEP, American Electric Power Company, straight down, right? In fact, every bar has a down close, opens, close lower, opens, close lower, opens lower, all right? How could we have taken advantage of this? In fact, how could we have maybe gotten short up here or sold here? Well, same process applies. Click on the PTS Extreme Trend tab. In the drop-down menu, click on Highlight Signal. And right here, this was the very first bar that a red block was painted around. And it continued, and I believe it still does continue to paint red blocks around as it goes lower. Here's another example in XEL, Xcel Energy. Same thing. Now we have an update here, but then all the bars that follow are down. How could we have gone short right here, knowing that, well, yeah, it's not going to just go down for a couple of days. I mean, we want it to be an extreme trend. Well, we wait for that first red block, and there it was right here on this bar. You could have gone short, and a lot of students don't always use this just to go short because they don't like really to go short. There are a number of students that say, Steve, I'm not a short trader. I only like to buy, or they don't feel comfortable shorting something. But you can use this as well if you're in a position. You can use this as a stop tool. Let's say you were long in your portfolio, XEL. And all of a sudden, one day you see that there is a red block painted around. Don't you think that that would give you a little warning as to which direction it's going to go? And maybe you still like the stock long term, but perhaps you want to sell half or maybe all of your position and wait to get in lower. Well, you could have done that with XEL and purchase it down, I believe, about 10 points lower. How about CHKP? Okay. Now, this isn't going straight down. We have some up days, down, kind of up, sideways, down. But if we wanted to get short here, look what we could have done. Gotten short right there on the close. And even in these 3 up days, if we missed getting short there, we could have gotten short when there was up, because even though there were up days, there was a red block painted around all those 3 bars. So that was basically just a little holding pattern. They were kind of waiting on a ledge before they went much lower. Let's look at EA, okay? Electronic Arts. Now this, once again, has been going straight down. An expensive stock. How could we have taken advantage of this? In fact, how could we have gotten short right here? Great place to get short. Take advantage of the next 3 or 4 down days. Apply the PTS XT and look what happened. You see, this is where you make that fast, quick gain in these extreme trends. Remember, I showed you that picture of that choppy market. Those are the markets you want to avoid. Those are the markets you want to get out of, because just when you think it's going in one direction, it reverses and goes the other direction. Then you get stopped out, and then it goes right back up to where you were. And this is where most traders say, how does he know right to come back to my stop placement, exit out and stop me out? And then it goes the other direction. The market doesn't know. The specialist doesn't know that. In fact, most of us have a limited size account. So for 100, 200, 300 shares, no specialist in the world is going to try to move mountains to make the market go down to your 200, 300 shares so that he can buy or sell it. It's ridiculous. I mean, they're dealing with hundreds of millions of dollars. They're not going to try and capture 200 or 300 shares. So I know it seems like sometimes it'll come right to my stop level and stop me out. I know many of you think that, but that's most likely that you're placing your stop level at a very obvious place that most traders place it. You have to know where to place it in different avenues. But the point being, you can use this any way you like, as a stop placement or as a way to initiate trends, or I should say, initiate trades in an extreme trend. Let's look at this example in Zoom, okay? The very platform we're using right now. Now, this one's going back to the end of August, coming into the beginning of September. Now, obviously, some news or something came out here where we had a big, strong gap to the downside on the opening, right? I have no idea what it is. Once again, I said that the theme of today is to really simplify your trading, and over trading is really what kills your trading. And one of my strong beliefs is that any type of fundamental news, relying and depending on that, really lends itself to over trading, because you start to go down the rabbit hole and say, well, this news means this. Well, then I must look at this news. Well, then what's the interpretation of this? And you all of a sudden are right back into that overcomplicating mode. So my mentor said, listen, Steve, if you're trading to hold a position for 5 minutes to maybe 5 weeks, there's absolutely no reason to concern yourself with news. Now, if you're investing, if you're holding on for 5 years to 20 years, sure, you need to know what's going on with the company. But if you're trading the way most of our students do, it's not required at all. So with that, it was very difficult for me to stop using these things. I thought, well, that I was always taught you're supposed to know about the earnings of a company. You're supposed to know about what's going on in the economy. But once I let go of that real tight, hold on to feeling that it's supposed to be real, well, all of a sudden, my trading started to become consistent. So for that fact, I have not looked at news in 40 years or 4 decades. So I have no idea if someone asked me what the jobless claims are, or what the earnings were, or why the stock gapped up or gapped down. I have no idea why Zoom gapped down like this. The only thing I know is that all the tools and techniques we teach, most of them will give you a signal, oftentimes in advance of the big news event or the big gap up or gap down. And they're on the right side. For example, if we apply the PTS XT, guess what? It would have generated a sell signal 2 days in advance. You could have gotten short this day or this day. Why? Because those are the first 2 days that a red block was painted around them. I often say this, but I say this just to make a point. The CEO of Zoom did not call me up and say, hey, I know you guys are using our platform to give your webinar, so I may want to give you a tip. We're going to have a gap down opening, a lot of points, so you may want to tell your students to sell. No one called me up and told me that. I don't look at fundamental news. It's not any of my concern. All I know is that the PTS XT is based on market behavior. And because of that, oftentimes it's able to generate signals well in advance of any news event and on the right side. So for those students who are frightened of news events, then you may be on the wrong side. There's absolutely no guarantee that any technique, any strategy, any system will forever get you out of the way and you'll always be on the right side and you'll never have a loss. No, there's nothing that can guarantee that. But it's been my experience in 4 decades that when you trade with market behavior, based on market behavior, you're often on the right side in advance of that news event or that big gap down, just as we were right here with Zoom. Now, let's say you weren't lucky enough to have the PTS XT. Well, you see, look here, for the next 2 weeks, we went sideways to a little bit higher. And look at all these up days. 3 up days in a row here, 2 up days in a row here. How well did they last after that? These all would have been great shorting opportunities. And look what happened after that. Then we had a nice strong up day here. That could have been a great shorting opportunity because look what happened after that. So this is the beauty of keeping things simple and using a very strong and powerful indicator like the PTS XT. Now let's look at some other markets and some other time frames. I don't want you to think that this only can be applied to stocks. I personally like to use it for the E-mini futures, which is the market I like to trade. Here's an hourly chart of the British pound. If you're a currency pair trader, you've noticed that the last couple of days, the British pound has been going straight down, okay? How could we have taken advantage of that? As we see here in hindsight on this hourly chart, it is going straight down. Well, wouldn't you have liked to have sold right there on that third bar? Even though it's gone down a little bit, wouldn't you like the assurance of knowing that, well, it says it wants to go down even more? Because look, right here was the first bar colored red or blocked red, and it continued to go even lower. Let's change markets. Let's change time frames. Here is a 1-minute chart of the E-mini futures. This was on the 24th of September. This was last Friday. It's about 3 or 4 days ago. Okay. E-mini on a 1-minute time frame is going straight up. Really good opportunity to make some quick money here, right? But most traders don't know how to take advantage of this. How would we have known? Well, although not guaranteed, wouldn't you have liked to have bought right there? Well, with the PTS XT, you could have, because look what happened. That was the first bar that a yellow block was placed around. Now, if you missed it, you had about 3 down days that were buying opportunities, because look what happened after that. Now, a lot of traders, if the market does go south and we do go into a bear market, even though I have no idea if we are going to or not, but if we do, they like to change over to commodities, something that's more tangible, something that's real, like coffee, like crude oil, like wheat. Well, here's a weekly chart of soybeans, okay, going back to August of last year up until April of this year. Pretty much a straight up market, right? Wouldn't you have liked to take an advantage of that, buying down here on that down week? Well, you could have with the PTS XT. The first yellow block bar was planted on this week that was down in last year's August, okay? And this represents thousands of dollars to the upside in soybeans. That's a weekly chart. Now, lastly, if we have any Bitcoin traders out there, they all know that Bitcoin has been headed lower. This was last week. When Bitcoin started to go down, this is a 4-hour chart. Wouldn't you have liked to have sold right there, or at least get out of your position possibly, buy some back later, take your profit? Because look what happened. That's where the red block was painted around, okay? All right, let's recap before I tell you about a great offer we have for all of you. Overthinking is what kills your trading. I remember there were guys on the floor, on the trading floor, that used to say, if you're thinking, you're stinking. And I used to say, well, what are you talking about? I mean, you have to analyze. You have to think about what you're doing. You have to think about what the stock earnings are, what the stock CEO says it's going to do. But really, after a couple of years and continued losses and seeing that my trading was going nowhere based on conventional wisdom, it's true. If you're thinking, you're stinking. Overthinking is what kills your trading. So Let's go through the trading process. Doesn't get any simpler than this. Plot the PTSXT extreme trend indicator. Doesn't matter what market, makes no difference what time frame. And what you want to do is in a yellow buy block, you want to buy the very first yellow block bar. That's one of the simplest ways to trade this. Now, there are dozens of ways to trade, which I go into in the course, but this is the simplest. On the very first yellow block bar, that's the one you want to buy. And in a red sell block, sell the very first red block bar. It's that easy, because if it's going to really take off, if it is going to work, and if it's going to be a strong extreme trend, that's where you want to get in on the beginning. Remember, you can only go through this process on the PTS Primo Charting Platform, seeing the yellow or red blocks and then watching the extreme trend take off. So ask yourself, we only have 3 months left in the year. 3 months, can you imagine? We're going to be into an entirely new year and an entirely new way to advance your trading. So do you think this indicator can help your trading for the remainder of the year of 2021 going into 2022? I think if you answer honestly, it will be definitely a yes. So if you're being honest with yourself, and if you really want to take your trading to the next level, for all the attendees that are interested, we have a great special offer for you today. We're going to give you a great discount on the PTSXT Extreme Trend Tool. This is how you can finally trade with simplicity, and this is how you can finally become a consistent trader. We know you've been searching for that consistency, all right? It generates these high probability zones by displaying the blocks, red or yellow, around the bars. Remember, you can apply it to any market, any time frame. You can trade it with your current strategy. We have a lot of students that say, well, Steve, you know what? I like my strategy. So we said, listen, try this, and it will, in our opinion, increase your odds for consistency. So many students saw it and they said, wow, I'm only going to take the signals that are in either a buy block or a sell block. And that's why I know I'll be taking advantage of this low-hanging fruit, okay? You can actually build a strategy. We have some students who've built strategies based off the PTSXT. It really gives you the confidence to pull the trigger. All right. Now, remember, everything you saw was displayed by using the PTS Primo Charting Platform. So obviously you're saying to yourself, well, Steve, I don't have the platform. I'm going to need the platform, right, to execute these trades or to initiate them, to learn about them. Well, because of that, we're going to throw in a full year, 12 months free for new students, okay, new customers. You're going to receive a full year. Now, this does not just come 1 year with the PTSXT. You're going to get a host of great techniques and strategies and methods included with the 12 months. For example, obviously you'll get one-click access to the indicator the way I showed you. You'll get our enhanced buy-sell line. This is 4 different features, ways in which to determine the overall trend. You'll get a strength of trend tool. So many times if you have a trend that's really going straight up or straight down, this tool is designed to tell you if it's running out of steam or not. So it can help you stay in the trade or exit if you'd like, all right? Auto-generated exit levels. We also have that as well. Over 90 of the most prominent technical indicators to help you trade, and personalized tech support. But this is the best thing, in my opinion. There are literally dozens more features on the platform that I don't have time to go into, but in my opinion, the best thing is the signal scanner. You can scan nightly for signals that the PTSXT has been generated. And in fact, you can scan, I'd say 3 minutes before the close. So I'm on the West Coast, the stock market closes at 1 o'clock. You could scan at 12:57. And in a matter of moments, you'll see a list of all the buy and sell candidates for the next day. You can decide if you want to take the trade on the close. It's that simple. For example, let me share with you how simple this process is. In fact, I developed it and designed it with Pro Trader Strategies to be as simple as possible. On the platform, remember we would click on the PTSXT tab, we would click on highlight signal to see the blocks. Well, this time just click on scan and you'll see this page appear, okay? This empty page, the PTSXT Extreme Trend. What you want to do is go in the left-hand corner here and decide and pick whatever market you want to be scanning. Click on the load symbol list, and we provide you with lists for European markets, Asian markets, for currency pairs, for Bitcoin, for stocks, all the different markets, S&P, NASDAQ, as well as futures. Just about any data list you can think of. So pick whatever one you're interested in. In fact, you can actually make up your own if you like. you like to look at the same number of stocks each night, the same basket of stocks, click it on, and a couple of seconds, you'll see it appear like this. Once it appears, click on scan. That's it. It doesn't get any simpler than that. And probably in less than a minute, you'll see either a series of green horizontal bars or red horizontal bars. These are simply the candidates for the next day that have or remain in PTS XT blocks. Now, what you want to do is look over here to the far right where it says bar count, because this tells you how long that bar has been in the buy block or the sell block. And what you want to do is only look at the ones right here where it has 1, because that's telling you that it's only been in a buy block for 1 bar. Okay. Remember, if you're getting in, that's where you want to get in, at that 1 bar warning, at that 1 bar signal. Now, let me show you what could have happened. Let's say we had given this webinar a couple of weeks ago, or even last week, and you became a student of this and got the platform. Here's what you could have scanned for. This was just a week ago. On the close of the 21st, and the 21st, looking back at my calendar, was Tuesday, just a little over a week ago. You could have scanned the markets maybe 5 minutes before the close and seen that there was a buy signal. This was the first block that COP, ConocoPhillips, was in. You could have said to yourself, wow, I like this. I like the oil market. I think I'll buy it. And look what happened after that. Coming into the 28th, which was Tuesday, yesterday, I believe, stock was up 10 points in 1 week. This just happened last week, okay? Now, on the same scan, you'll also see candidates that are for selling opportunities. You could have scanned on the night of the 21st, 5 minutes before the close, and seen an ETR. There was a sell signal. Why? Because this was the first bar in a red block. So you had the opportunity to go short. Now, I realize not everyone can go short a $100 stock. Maybe you wanted to buy the puts. Maybe you are already long the stock and you say to yourself, wow, this is a great opportunity to get out. If there's going to be an extreme trend to the downside, I want to get out. Maybe I'll save myself 5, 10, 20 points. Either way, it would have been a wise decision, because coming into yesterday, the stock fell once again 10 points in 1 week. Now, I know you go to a lot of webinars, you listen to a lot of so-called educators or teachers or system makers, and they always show you these amazing results of trades that happen, and you go back and you look, and most of them happened about 6 months to a year ago. But we always like to share with you current things, because it's our sincerity, and we're really trying to show you that this is happening all the time. All right, we're not guaranteeing you that they're all going to be winners and all going to be down 10 points in 1 week, but we're just sharing with you that it does happen. We're not cherry picking, trades that happened 2 years ago, the way some other webinars do. Okay, so let's break it down. This is a great, great offer. In fact, we're going to really discount this tremendously for you so you can get your trading up and running for 2022. Here's what you want to do. Our Extreme Trend Tool regular price is up to $5,000. That's how popular and that's how powerful this tool is. But here's what we're going to do for all of you today for attending. We're going to discount that tremendously for a one-time payment of less than $500, $497, and only $97 per month. You can be up and running as early as today. You can have a full year of the platform, and you can have the entire rules, the entire course to the PTS XT. All right. Now, if you want to pay in full, well, we're not going to charge you $49.95. You'll save $500, 10%. We'll drop it down to $44.95. So there's 2 different ways to purchase. Okay. You can either pay in full and you say, listen, Steve, I want this tool. I don't want to have monthly payments. Well, it's still discounted by $500. But if you want to take this great, great offer at a really inexpensive price for a limited time only, a one-time fee of $497 and only $97 per month. Now, remember, this includes, either way you decide to purchase it, it includes a full year of the platform absolutely free. That in of itself is worth thousands of dollars. That's totally free, along with the discount price of the PTS XT. Take your trading to the next level with the new PTS XT Extreme Trend Indicator. Once again, this is by far one of our most popular as well as simple tools at Specialist Trading and Pro Trader Strategies. You've seen examples that have happened in the last month. You see how well it can be used. You can use it a number of different ways. We teach you entries, exits, and stop placements in the course. Lots of ways to trade with it. I just shared with you the simplest way to use it. So take your trading to the next level. Invest in yourself. Turn your trading around. You don't want to start out 2022 the way you started out 2021. If you're struggling, here's a great way to get back on track. Now, I developed this, and all of the discounts and all of the pricing is done through my sister site, Pro Trader Strategy. So here's how to take advantage of this great offer, okay? The best way is, in my opinion, to call them directly. They have trading consultants manning the phones right now. They would be happy to either take your order or to answer any questions concerning the tech support of the PTS XT, or I should say the tech support of the Pro Trader Strategies and the Primo Trading Charting Platform. So there's lots of different ways you can ask them questions with absolutely no obligation. Their number is 310-598-6677. They're very flexible. They'd be willing to take your order over the phone if you like. Now, that link you see at the very bottom has been posted on the chat box, okay? That link will take you directly to the info and sign up page. So if you'd like to do it on your own, you can click that on and you can sign up online or get more information about what's being offered. Now, I promised I would take any and all of your questions. We have about 10 or 15 more minutes left in the presentation. So if you have questions concerning what I went over and showed you today, please write them in and I will answer them to the best of my ability. And once again, I will leave all this information up here so you can copy it down, or I would strongly suggest giving them a call right now, okay? Someone's asking, equities, forex, and crypto are all on one platform through your data feed. Well, yes, you can get that data feed and you can get those lists. But once again, since Pro Trader Strategies handles all the tech support and the data information and all of that, I would put those questions to them because they can answer that a lot better than I. Anything concerning trading or teaching, that comes directly to me. But concerning data and concerning pricing and tech support, remember, there's absolutely no obligation. They would be more than happy to answer any of your questions. But I know, yes, we do have data for forex and crypto and stocks and commodities and currency pairs and E-mini futures. It's all there, and different exchanges. So we have a lot of data for you to choose from. And as I said earlier, you can create your own data list. If you'd like to trade 20 stocks and you like to just get in and out of the same ones, then you can scan for those on a nightly basis as well. Right? Yes, someone is asking, do you have intraday scanning? Yes, we also have intraday capability for scanning. So if you're an intraday trader, you can do that as well, okay? Oh, here's my most common question. What do you mean by educational correspondence? Are you a mentor? Do we get mentorship? No, what that means is, in a way, you do get mentorship, but it just means you all have access to my personal email address. So you can contact me whenever you like if you happen to have a question. You know, so many times you'll purchase a tool or a technique or a system or a strategy from a so-called educator. And then when you have a question, it's either so difficult trying to get through or contact someone, or when you do contact someone, it's usually an intern or someone working there. If you have any of my courses, any of my strategies or methods, you always get my personal email address. You can contact me whenever you like, and it comes directly to me. It doesn't go to a salesperson, doesn't go to an intern, it comes directly to me. And I answer any and all questions concerning trading. So it is kind of similar to your question. It is like having your own personal mentor there, because you can ask me anything you like, and we can review your trades and go over certain trades and things you may be wondering about, okay? Good question, though. Any more questions? Someone's asking about any time frame. Oh, someone's saying, can you look at the ticker of my choice? Well, unfortunately, this is, I don't have charts open up right now. As I said earlier, this is a static presentation, so I don't have access to charts right now. No, once again, once you get the platform and everything and there, you can do this all for yourself. That's the simplicity of it. It's right there for you. So it's just so simple for you to do. And I don't want to go down. Once again, remember, most traders like to take themselves out of the game and ask someone, can you punch this up for me? Can you tell me if there's a signal there? Because we're all trained that way. This is what our concept is, our philosophy is, we want you to do this. So you've seen the power of this, you've seen the simplicity. Once you come on board, you can literally scan and punch up any stock you like, and you'll know in a matter of seconds if it's in an extreme buy mode or an extreme trending downward mode, okay? Any more questions? Anything while we are still here? Remember, this is usually running towards $5,000. If we continue to get the interest and it remains in its popularity, most likely, and sometime in 2022, this price will increase. So if you really are serious about taking your trading to the next level, you should take advantage of this great, great offer. Remember, we're discounting it down to a one-time payment, less than $500, $497, and only $97 per month. I was watching something the other day about a platform. I forget. It wasn't even a system. It was just the use of the platform. And it was close to $300 a month. And I was thinking, wow, I don't know of a lot of people that can afford that because, on top of that, you have to trade and try and make money. So this is really, you're getting over 40 years of tips, techniques, and things that can really help your trading. And you're getting, personal email of my own to contact me whenever you like for $97 a month. So this is really a great, great offer. Take advantage of it while you can, okay? Okay, if there are no further questions, remember, I would strongly suggest calling Pro Trader Strategies at 310-598-6677. Even if you're still not sure whether you're going to buy it, there's no obligation. They would be more than happy to answer your questions concerning data, concerning tech support, and concerning price, okay? So give them a call. They're very flexible and they'd be willing to answer your questions. Now, as we close and we take one last look, once again, at our disclaimer, thank you so much for attending. I know you could have been trading or going to other webinars. I thank you for attending today, but most especially, I look forward to all of you becoming students of mine in the PTS XT course. Take your trading to the next level. Take advantage of this great offer and make your trading consistent. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.